As a kid, you're told that parents make rules to keep you safe. So from then on, when a new rule seems odd, your brain makes up a reason. You learn not to question your parents. When I was a kid, I believed everything they said, till I was around 15. At that time, I was allowed to roam the internet as I wished. I was researching a slideshow. We were supposed to make it about something we were interested in, and I chose true crime. I love listening to podcasts and walking myself through disappearances. I wanted to be a detective. So I wanted to go over one of the first cases I'd been interested in. Since I needed pictures for the slide, I went to a backup for an old missing persons website. While scrolling, I found something really weird. One of the missing people had a picture of me. I recognized the photo because it had been sitting on our mantle. The background was of a different house, but I looked exactly the same. I even put the pictures side by side. When I looked closer, I realized that the lighting in our photo didn't match up with where the sun was. It said I'd disappeared when I was 2. I shut off the computer and wandered through the house, looking in photo albums and in frames. I was at least 2 in every picture. At this point, I was kind of scared. Every odd rule started to make sense. Until I was 7, I couldn't watch TV unless my parents were in the room. If they were watching the news, I had to stay in the other room. I wasn't allowed to watch cold cases or anything until I was 12. There was an episode of a true crime show I used to watch that my parents told me to stay away from. They said it was too gory. The name matched the one on the site, so I sat down and turned on the episode. Apparently, my grandmother was babysitting me and decided to take me outside. She was pushing me on the swing in her backyard. She ran to the porch to grab our coats since it was windy. She came back, and I was gone. I'm not really sure what to do. My parents have never been bad to me. If anything, they've spoiled me with toys and dolls, and I love them. What they did was wrong. The woman on TV, who was my real grandmother, seemed really sweet. She blamed herself for my disappearance. At the end was a message from her and my birth parents. Honey, if you're out there, please come home. We love you and miss you. Even if they say there's no way you could be out there, we still believe. Be safe. I looked just like them. I sat and started crying on my sofa. I didn't know what to do. I waited until my parents got home and decided to question them. I asked why they didn't have any pictures of me until I was 2. They said they were lost when we moved a few years ago. With every question, they seemed nervous. I asked why our other families seemed nervous around me. They got defensive and asked me to go eat in my room. Being a frustrated teenager, I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. I couldn't move my body. Fear and anger overwhelmed me. I stood in one place. My dad started yelling at me. I couldn't tell what he was saying. I turned around, forcing my fight or flight mechanism back. I'm calling the cops, I yelled. My parents were surprised. I didn't normally go against their words or raise my voice. My dad laughed lightheartedly. Why would they care about a teenager who's upset she was sent to her room? Because she was kidnapped. My dad was no longer laughing. He opened a drawer, poured something on a rag, and tackled me. I remember falling and feeling fabric on my face. I woke up, got dressed, and wandered into the living room. My dad was sitting on the couch, holding an ice pack to his face. I think my mom slapped him. Morning, sunshine. Did you sleep well? He smiled nervously. You went to bed earlier than usual yesterday. Must have been from all that food. I hadn't eaten lunch or dinner yesterday. I played along until they dropped me off at school. I walked home, went inside, and dialed 911. I walked home, went inside, and dialed the phone. 911, what's your emergency? I have reason to believe I was kidnapped as a baby. We're sending an officer over. Where's your location? I told the officers everything. I showed them the pictures on the computer compared to the one on the mantle. I showed them the photos around the house and explained why I'd suspected something was off. The police identified the liquid from the night before as chloroform. It makes you pass out if you breathe it in. The officers talked with me until my parents got home. The officers parked around the back so my parents wouldn't see them and flee. I still remember when they arrested them. He begged me to tell them I was joking. My mom went willingly, apologizing to me. The police couldn't get any information from my dad, but my mom gave them everything they needed. She claimed when they were in their 20s, my dad struggled with substance abuse. He got clean long enough for them to get married. A year later, she had a miscarriage. He was upset and relapsed. One day they were driving up by my grandmother's house. I was sitting in the swing. My dad stopped the car, and the next thing they knew, he was asking what my mom wanted to name me. Once sober and clean, he said he didn't know what to do. They decided there was no going back and told the rest of their families that I was adopted, claiming they didn't want to tell anyone until the paperwork went through and I'd settled in. We did a DNA test to verify who I was, and I got to meet my birth parents. My grandmother came as well and started sobbing when she saw me. We all had lunch together before the trial. Both of my parents pleaded guilty and apologized to my family. My dad got life with no chance of parole, since he also confessed that he had used to buy, sell, and use illegal substances. My mom got life with a chance of parole after 15 years. I know this might have been a little confusing, and I'd like to apologize for that. Even though they were kidnappers, I still felt close to them. It's like a form of Stockholm Syndrome. It's been a few years since the trial. I lived with my real parents for a few years, got to know them and my siblings, and put myself through college. I became a detective. I got married, and I had a family. I'm writing this for a reason, to warn others. If you notice something that seems off, investigate it. Don't jump to conclusions, though. Do your own research and look for evidence. Never stop asking questions. You never know what lies beneath the surface. Hey, this is Barry. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel Into the Dark. For more original, dark, scary content, click like and subscribe. Leave a comment for any story ideas that you may have down in the comment section below. Thanks and have a wonderful day.